Welcome, Ayana. I want to start off by thanking you for allowing me to interview you. Uh, I will be asking you questions about your feelings and your thoughts and plans about the future. Um, you, if you don't feel comfortable about answering these questions, you don't have to. We just say pass. And if you would like to stop the interview at some point, you could also just let me know. Okay. So I just want to start off by, just asking if you could tell me a little bit about yourself, like your name, your age, the gender you identify with, what class you're at BC, and like your race as well.
Okay. So my name is Ayana Henry. I'm 20, African American female, and I am a sophomore right now.
Thank you, thank you. So to start it off, what do you do to keep yourself busy in Boston College?
I don't really have to try to stay busy. I mean, there's always something to do, whether it's homework or hang out with friends. I'm a sucker for research. I really love research anytime because I have a lot of questions going on in my head.
Mhm.
And when I'm not doing that, sleep is always a wonderful option.
Sleep is a wonderful option. All right, amazing. So I guess a follow-up question to that is, how do you think these activities or clubs you're in help you with your career?
Well, currently I'm thinking of becoming potentially a civil rights attorney. I'm still unsure if that's the path I'm going to take forward. That's a good question. I think that when I choose activities, I generally think about how they will impact me as a person in the future and how they go toward building my character. And I think
Mhm.
I don't really think of it in terms of a job. Um, Research is something that I really like and investigating. And I think that that will be very helpful if I did decide to become a lawyer. Um, Volunteering, I love volunteering and helping others. And I think the service part is definitely one of the biggest draws for me. Thinking of becoming a lawyer, spending time with friends. I think self care is important no matter what stage you are
Mhm.
in your life because burnout is a very real thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just think that a lot of my activities are based in curiosity.
Mm.
So yeah.
Yeah. I completely agree. I feel like people are just curious about what they want to do. So my next question will be, what type of conversations do you have with your friends about your possible future career?
Well, my friend Thomas and I have a lot of conversations on life in general and some of our conversations on the future. And we're both trying to discern what it is that we want to do. We both have parents who kind of, his parents are accountants, my dad's an engineer. So it's very,
Mm.
that's the one thing you do and done.
Yeah.
Although I think there is a little bit more variety in engineering than there is in accounting. But we've kind of both agreed that we don't want to be sort of stuck in a profession. We want to do something that we can sort of move around in and help others as well. So my friend's in CSOM, and obviously money is like a really big thing. Get a business degree, make money, and
Mhm.
so I think that whatever we do, we really want to help people. In addition to making an income, of course.
Mm. Nice. Yeah, and that's usually how my friends and I would do as well. We would always be like, "Oh, what do you want to do? What do you want to do?" I'm like, and my friend back home, he's also just like talks about how I don't want to stick to one profession. I want to like do more things. So another question is, when other students seem to have their life and career planned out, how does that make you feel?
Um, Well, I could talk about the closest student I know, which would be my sister who graduated last year. And she's always known that she wanted to be a doctor ever since she was very little.
Mm.
It makes me feel slightly frustrated because I'm constantly trying to figure out what it is that I want to do. And the problem that I have is there's too many things I want to do, and obviously I can't live a life that's 500 years long, so I have to do something that helps others. I don't know, it just makes me feel a little bit frustrated, I guess, that I can't figure it out sooner. So yeah.
Yeah, I understand. So for my next question, what career do you want to pursue after BC?
Right now I'm thinking of law. That can change. Other options are public health, urban planning, sociology, potentially. I'm honestly not sure. I know that I was thinking of psychology as well or social work. I want to help people, but I realized that I have to help people in a way that's not in direct contact with them. Because I'm so empathetic, it's really hard for me to sort of deal with difficult things all the time without it really weighing heavily on me. So I think it would be best for both them and myself to sort of help from afar. So that's what I'm trying to figure out.
And I guess, knowing that you are kind of in the mix of all these other decisions that you want to do because of all your curiosity that you mentioned before, I guess I would just want to ask, like, what influenced you to pursue or to have these in mind, these other like career choices?
Yeah. So I see them all as going toward one goal. My goal is I want to help children all around the world. So, for example, public health. I see that as sort of intertwined with urban planning and also the immigration crisis. I was in a class last year. We studied the impacts of global warming on developing countries and how that kind of spurs immigration to the United States.
Yeah.
And a lot of times on the way, children can really be traumatized because of lack of good facilities and housing and education. And I feel as though public health and urban planning can go hand in hand in creating safe spaces in the hosting countries for these children, as well as like integrating psychology into that, because there really is a need for migrant children to have a safe space to heal and to have resources necessary. The flip side of that is that you can, in terms of law, I could become a civil rights attorney and sort of fight one case that could be a case that sort of changes laws and makes it more, well, creates greater justice when it comes to the environment and how it affects immigration, because a lot of the developing countries are not responsible for global warming as much as the industrialized countries are. Right. So yeah.
So I asked you these two questions that are normally asked around BC. What career do you want to pursue, or what influenced you to pursuing this career? And so I guess after being asked those two questions just now, how did you feel when I asked you those questions? And you can take like a second to just reflect and just think about it.
To be honest, I feel the same way I felt for a while now, and that's I'm just not sure which route to take. I think it's just this thing that people keep saying is, oh, you have time, but I think that something that a large segment of the population here at BC doesn't understand is some people don't have time to make mistakes because they don't have a safety net. And so I feel as though I really need to try to figure out what's going to happen after college so that I could have something planned, even if it's not the best option. I don't know, it just brings up a lot of like uncertainty, a lot of anxiety. I want to help people, but ultimately I have to be able to help myself and my family as well. Right. So yeah.
I completely agree. So I know I just asked you how you felt after I asked you these questions, but let's say in a different scenario, like your family member or your friend or even an academic advisor asks you this question. So how do you feel during these conversations about your future career with other people, like your friends, your families, or a staff or something?
Friends and family easy, or in a way, because this big concept of going away to college, and college is like an abstract thing, and you could say you want to study something, and as long as it sounds good enough, then it's good enough. But when I'm talking to an advisor, I feel a lot more stressed out because then I think of all the factors, like are they going to criticize me because of my GPA or my extracurriculars, or are they going to just like worsen my anxiety about how hard it is to get into schools? I don't know. So I think that's definitely more intimidating. I have to go to the career center and I've been putting it off for that exact reason because I don't know what to do, which is the point of the career center. But it's like I'm afraid of not knowing what to do when I go to the career center. So yeah.
Thank you. So, I feel like a common trend about this question, like that comes with this question, is this uneasiness, the stress and anxiety that students have in mind when being asked this question for the most part. So I just want to ask you, how do you cope with your feelings of uneasiness or the stress and anxiety? You just be honest. You don't have to.
I am still trying to figure that out.
Thank you. I guess another like follow-up question to that is like, how would you think someone could cope with this?
We can cope a lot of different ways. Just depends on what's for you. I got COVID about 2 years ago, and unfortunately, that really affected my lungs and sort of my heart, and it makes everyday activities really difficult, really challenging to do. So running was a huge outlet for me, and now I can't run, and working out is like really hard to get to super easily. I definitely think exercise can be a good way to cope with that. Going to church, especially if your faith tradition is very, very central in your life, I think that can be good. Being around supportive people. Yeah.
Thank you. So how do you, let me see if I can find a way to ask this better. Do you think, or I guess like a question would be, what expectations do people have about you in figuring out like your career, or what career they would expect you?
Well, okay. So in terms of what career, I don't really feel as though there's certain expectations. But in terms of how I end up in life, I feel like a common refrain, and sometimes for me, it's like it's equally encouraging as it is frustrating. As people will say, "Oh my goodness, you're so smart. I know you're going to do something great in life." And I think, okay, wonderful, because school is hard, but that's very non-specific. Like, can someone at least try to tell me what they think my passion is?
Yeah.
And so there's always a sense of, at least for me, and I'm not sure why, but there's like the sense of people expecting you to do great and wonderful things. And yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it sure is interesting, because normally for me personally, there's that expectation of doing great, like you said. And so I guess a follow-up to that point that you talked about, how because you said that you don't know why there's that expectation, right? Like, how do you think students would feel if that expectation was got like away, and there was just an expectation of failure.
That is such a good question, and it's a funny question because I have people in my life who expect both of those things. So the expectation has its pros and cons. One is that it gives me hope to keep going, right? Because something good is going to turn out. If many people since I was little have said this to me and they don't know each other, then it's like, okay, there's hope for me.
Yeah.
And it can help you have more confidence in yourself. The expectation of people believing that I will fail probably drives me even more. Because I wouldn't say I'm vindictive, but sometimes I have to just quiet the haters, you know? And the way to do that is to like, it sounds so bad, but like rub your success in their face. Not literally.
No, but
like
yeah.
They see you and they realize, oh wow, we judged her wrong. And people have judged me many times, all the time. It still happens. And so that really motivates me.
I think those are all my questions. I want to thank you for participating and volunteering. I won't share any of this personally to anyone else except for my professor, if you don't mind. That's fine. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. I'm glad I could be of help to you.